Hi guys, it's Sophie Styling here. You're welcome back to my channel. If you're interested in knowing how I made this beautiful dress that you can rock in 2 ways, keep watching this video. If you're new to my channel, you are welcome. Consider hitting the subscribe button. And to my returning subscribers and viewers, you're welcome back. Without wasting much time, let's get right into today's video. Okay, so here I've marked the starting length, which will be 7 as the shoulder line, and I'm going to mark half of the shoulder measurement, which is 8 inches. The shoulder is 16 divided by 2 is 8, and I'll come down on this point by 1 inch for the shoulder slope. For the neck width I did 2.5, and for the neck depth I'm going to mark 7 inches. So if you're on a plus size, you need to make that neck width to be 2.75 or 3 inches. Here I marked 3 inches, but I later added half inch to make it 3.5 on fold. Remember that we're making this on fold, okay? So here I've added the half inch to make it a total of 3.5. You can actually make it 4 or 3.5 or 4 inches. So we're just going to connect these 2 points together and then mark the shoulder slope. Next, I'm going to mark from the shoulder line, mark shoulder to bust point, shoulder to the under bust, and shoulder to waistline. And I'll be adding 1.5 for allowance, and then I'm going to connect. On the bust line, I'm going to mark the bust span, which is 8 inches divided by 2. I'll mark 4 inches all the way to the waistline, and then I'll connect them with a straight line. And on this part, I'm going to mark the armhole depth, and I'll connect it just like so. On that line, I'm going to divide these 2 points by 2, and I'll connect it to the bust point just like so. On the under bust here, I'll take 1 inch inwards, and on this part I'll take 2 inches inward, and I'll connect. On the bust point, I'll come down by 1 inch, and then I'll connect this to the bust point, and also this part. So on this line, we're going to take half inch on both sides of 1 inch on both sides of the line, and then we're going to connect them back to the bust point, just like I'm doing here. So because we took 2 inches from this part, that's 1 inch, we're going to replace that 2 inches on this side. So I'm just going to rule a straight line to avoid shortening around that armhole. So here I'm going to extend my lines. On this part, I'm going to mark the quarter of the bust circumference. I'll mark it here, and I'll replace that small dart intake, that's half inch, and I'll add 1.5 for seam allowance. Then I'm just going to connect the armhole. On the under bust, I'm also going to mark the quarter of the under bust circumference, replace the dart intake, and then add 1.5 for seam allowance. On the waistline, the waist circumference, quarter of the waist circumference, replace the dart intake, and then 1.5 for seam allowance, and then I'm just going to connect. Next is to cut this out. Moving on to the back, so here I've marked the chest line, waistline, and the seam allowance, and also marked the shoulder line. For the neck width, I marked 2.5 and also the zipper allowance. So here I'm just going to connect these points to the chest line. And for the neck depth, I'm going to make it 1.5 for the neck depth, and then I'm just going to connect it just like so. On the chest line, I'm going to mark the bust span, which is 4 inches, and I marked it all the way to the waistline, and then I'm going to connect with a straight line. I'll be taking half inch on both sides of that line, and on the chest line I'll come downwards by 1 inch and connect all the dots. This is to form the dart. And then from this, okay, so next I'm going to mark the bust circumference divided by 4, I added this seam allowance, and on the waist circumference divided by 4, replace the dots and then seam allowance. And I'll mark the same thing on this. So next thing is to connect these points, and then going to mark the armhole. On this part, I'm going to go inwards by 1/2 inch, and I'm going to connect it just like so, and also connect this part. And next is to cut this out. So here I'm gone ahead to cut on the fabric and also the lining. I added 1/2 inch all around this part, and this is the wording I'll be using to pad this dress. So this is the front and this is the back. So now the next thing I will do is to place this like so, right side facing each other, just like we always do it. You make sure that the underboards are matching very well. So first I'm going to secure it with a pin, and I will go and join this part with 1/2 inch all around until I get to the end. And I'll also do the same for this second part as well. And for the back, the first thing I will do for the back is to go and stitch up the dart. So I'm just going to fold it in like so, and you get the pattern paper to measure the length of the dart, and you transfer it on the main fabric. Okay, I'm just going to mark the length, and I'll take it to my sewing machine. I'll stitch with 1/2 inch all the way to this. So I'll repeat the same thing for this part as well. This is what the front looks like when I'm done stitching. So what I did is that I press opened all the seams, and I used an interfacing to hold everything down. So this is what the cup looks like, and this is the lining. The lining won't be having any wording, only for the main fabric. And this is the back. I've also gone ahead to stitch the dart for both the fabric and the lining piece, and this is what it looks like. So what I did is I trimmed the half length, and always remember to trim your half length, armhole, and the rest of them. So the next thing I will do now is to bring this right side facing each other, and I'm going to go and stitch with 1/2 inch all around the neckline. Okay, and for the back I'm also going to place the lining right side facing each other, and then I'm going to go and stitch around the neckline with 1/2 inch. And this is what I have when I'm done. So now I'm going to notch this part very close to the seam. Careful not to cut the seam. And I'll also notch this other side, and then I'll turn it over like so, and I'll go and top stitch on the lining. I'll also do the same for the back, notch all the neckline, and then I'll go and also top stitch. So this is what I have when I'm done. Then I've also gone ahead to stitch the sides with 1/2 inch. So now I'm going to turn this to the right side. This is what we have. Then I'm going to go and iron this properly. And for the back as well, I've also gone ahead to top stitch and also stitch the sides with 1/2 inch. And then I'll turn this over to the right side, and this is what we have. So I'm just going to take all of them and go and give it a good press. So here we have it all ironed out. So now getting the lower part, I'm going to hold it, making sure that the midpoint matches, the center matches, and then I'm going to hold this down with pin. And one, join the upper part to the skirt part. So I didn't show the sewing of the skirt part because I have videos, a lot of videos on this channel on how you can do that using the bot allocation. So I'll be linking some of those videos in my description, so you can go there and watch how to do that. So this is the back. I've also gone ahead to join the upper parts to the skirt part. So now, placing this right side facing each other, I'm going to go and stitch up the zipper allowance with loose stitches. Okay, so I'm going to stitch from this point all the way to where the zipper is going to stop with loose stitches. So when I say loose stitches, I mean gather stitch that you can easily rip off when you want to fix the zip. So when I get to this place, I'm going to stitch it with loose stitches, and then I'll continue stitching with the regular stitch till I get to where the slit is going to start from. And this is what I have when I've stitched it down. This is the slit. So I use my hemming gum to hold this part from this point all the way to the hemline. And this is what the rest looks like. So next I'm going to grab the front placing it on the back, right side facing each other. I'll go and join on the shoulder. So this is what I have when I'm done. I'm also gonna have to use the bias tape to turn the armhole. Next is to close the side, but before then, for the ruffle on the side, so I have my fabric here. The length of the ruffle is totally up to you, but for me I made it 9 inches. So by the time I fold it and join, it will be around 7 inches wide, okay? But the wideness is totally up to you. So I'm going to cut a very long one. I'll go and join these two together and gather it up. So this is what I have when I'm done. I've gathered it up. So now from the waistline, I'm going to measure how long, where the ruffle is going to stop, okay? So I'm just going to grab the ruffle. So you need to mark your body measurement so that you will know, it will guide you when you're placing the ruffles. So I'm just going to tuck it in this way. The right side should be facing the front side. So I'm just going to adjust it, making sure that about 1 inch is on the seam allowance, your side seam, and then you're just going to hold the body measurement. I'll go and stitch this down. So this is what I have when I'm done. See how beautiful it looks, and that is basically it for this dress. So next will be for the transparent inner, and I'll be doing that in the next tutorial. Thank you guys so much for watching.